Now we're going to talk about economic efficiency. Well, in general, we are talking about economic behavior. What is economic behavior? Well, we have a minimum and a maximum approach. In this example, we're going to talk about the business first. So as we see, we have two approaches. The one is the minimum and the one is the maximum strategy. First of all, the maximum strategy. Maximum output for a total given cost of resources. What does that mean? Well, that's very simple. For example, you're given a total amount of money or another resource to produce as much unit as you can for that amount. In other words, I'm going to give you 15,000 euros as an example, and you produce as much units as you can for that amount of money. Or I will give you that amount of gold and you will produce as much jewelry out of that, rings or change, as you can. Talking now about the minimum strategy. Well, it's very simple. It's also very easy to understand because it's the other way around. Minimum total cost of producing an output. In this example, I'm going to tell you, well, listen, I want to have 15,000 rings and 200 chains. Or I want to have this amount of that product. And I want it to be the cost of producing the goods as small as possible. Okay, let's sum it up with an example. Maximum strategy. So, I'm going to give you an amount of resources. You're going to produce as much as you can with that amount. Minimum strategy. I'm going to tell you the amount of units that I want and you make sure that you produce those goods with the lowest cost as possible. Now we are going to talk about economic efficient behavior by the minimum and maximum approach of consumers. Let's have a look at the max strategy first. Maximum satisfaction for a given total expenditure. Now what is maximum satisfaction? Well, that's very simple. It's the car that you can barely afford but you still want to buy it because from that point of view you think that it gives you the maximum satisfaction. On the minimum strategy, on the other hand, you have a minimum total expenditure to achieve a certain level of satisfaction. To give an example, it's not the car that you always wanted to have, it's just a simple car where your needs to get from A to B are satisfied. So it's a certain level of satisfaction. Let's go through another example. For example, from a consumer point of view, a maximum strategy would be, I'm going to book a very expensive hotel on a beautiful, lonely island. That is going to be my total satisfaction for total given expenditure. On the other hand, well, next summer, therefore, I don't want to afford that much money, but I still want to be next to the ocean. So therefore, I'm going to book a Ryanair flight to Barcelona and be happy.